for this lesson, we will be multiplying and dividing integers. Notice that I have written that the same rule applies to both multiplication and division, which is great. Less to remember. So what are the rules? Here we have the signs. If they're the same, the answer is positive. Here we have, if the signs are different, our answer is negative. So let's look at a few problems. This is a positive 6 times a negative 2. And again, the parentheses is just separating the negative sign from the times dot. So 1 is positive, 1 is negative. I know 6 times 2 is 12, and it will be a negative 12. For number 2, we have a negative 3 times a negative 1. Well, both signs are the same, so I know the answer is going to be positive, and it is a 3. For the next one, we have a negative 5 times 7. Well, 1 is negative and 1 is positive, so that means our answer must be negative, and 5 times 7 is 35. So those were examples of multiplication problems. Let's look at some division problems. We have a negative 10 divided by 5. Well, I see they're opposite signs, so I know my answer is going to be a negative, and 10 divided by 5 is 2. Looking at number 5, when it's written in fraction form, remember this fraction bar is really like division, so it is negative 28 divided by negative 4, and notice I said they were both negative, so our answer is just 7. For number 6, 36 divided by negative 4, the answer is a negative 9. So sometimes you may see problems written like this. When you have a number by a parentheses with no other operation present, that means multiply. So when I see something like this, remember, I'm going to be thinking 8 times 8. And we have it's a negative 8. So 1 is positive, 1 is negative. The answer is going to be negative, and it is a negative 64. For this one, again, it's a multiplication problem. So negative 6 times a negative 6. Well, we know 6 times 6 is 36. And since they're both negative, the answer is positive. Looking at our rules, remember, doesn't matter what the signs are. If they are the same, the answer is positive. So now I have 9 times a negative 8. And that is a positive times a negative. We know 9 times 8 is 72, and it will be a negative 72. Well, what happens if you have a problem like number 10, where there's more than one problem to do? So we will start, just like with order of operations, on the left, solve it, and then do the final step. So negative 2 times 6, well, 2 times 6 is 12, and that has to be negative because one of them is negative. And now I'm just going to copy the rest of the problem. And when I copy the rest of the problem, I have a negative 12 times a negative 3. Well, they're both negative, so I know my answer is going to be positive, and 12 times 3 is 36. Remember, we do not have to write that plus 36 there for positive. We can just write 36. And for the last one, 4 divided by 2, we know is 2. Those were both positive. So far we have positive 2. And now I'm bringing down times a negative 3. So 2 times a negative 3 is equal to a negative 6 because 1 is positive and 1 is negative. If this video was helpful to you today, please add a like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe for more Math with Marcia. See you again soon.